Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. It's another Arsenal talk show. The Champions League draw is actually happening as we speak. We're going to be keeping you up to date with that one. We're also going to be talking about the predicted, or prediction, should I say, predicted lineup, predictions for the game, bit on the West Ham game as well. So I thought I would do a nice morning show for you. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're listening around the world and wherever you're listening on Catch Up. Big up to all of you for being here nice and early. Make sure you do me a favor, hit the like and the subscribe button. The Champions League draw is underway, and I can tell you that Club Brugge have pulled out Aston Villa. So Aston Villa have avoided Borussia Dortmund, and they will face Club Brugge. What a draw for Aston Villa that is in the last 16. That is absolutely phenomenal. Before we go any further and we catch up with the teams as they are pulled out, please make sure you're following Reality Raffles. £100,000 to be won. Please make sure that you get your ticket for this. Reality Raffles on Instagram. Make sure you're following it. They've got so many more prizes as we can see here. The Mini Cooper is also up for grabs. We've got the iPhone or £600 in cash. We've also got, if you're into it, Lego voucher. I didn't realize how much of a collector's item Lego was until I looked into it. Please make sure that you're in for that draw as well, and you've also got the tag watch also, so please make sure you go over to Reality Raffles. They've got an unbelievable amount of prizes, football tickets to be won, music concert festivals to be won, and many more. So please make sure you go over to Reality Raffles. Okay, let's take a look, shall we, because as you can see, they are being drawn out. I thought what I'd do is try and do it live as opposed to the build up and all that kind of stuff. So let's take a look, shall we? At the moment, it's looking pretty good. It's been pulled out pretty quickly. We've got Club Brugge versus Aston Villa. What a tie for them. Borussia Dortmund versus Lille is the next game. And then we have Real Madrid versus Atletico Madrid. Wow, what a derby that is. Who is going to get through on that one? I always fancy Real Madrid in this competition. Then Bayern Munich versus Bayer Leverkusen, another domestic tie in the Bundesliga for both of these teams, two of which have been unbelievable in the last couple of seasons. And then it is the one we've all been waiting for. It is PSV versus Arsenal. Arsenal have drew PSV. Wow. Feyenoord versus Inter Milan. PSG versus Liverpool. Wow, that's going to be an absolutely fantastic tie. And then we've got Benfica versus Barcelona. Wow, that is phenomenal. Now, I don't know what happens here. Perhaps you do in the chat. What does that now mean for the ties after that? Is there a side of the draw that we go into? Is there a side of the draw now that says because we've pulled out PSV, we can only face the following two teams? That's my understanding. But let me know in the chat if that is not the case. Obviously, we've done this really on the dot, but that was on purpose. I didn't want to sit with the build up and wait and start talking about who we might get. We all know it was going to be PSV or Feyenoord. It looks now that Arsenal have drew PSV. That's going to be really interesting now. The knockout ties, March the 4th and 5th, and the 11th and the 12th is when we will be playing PSV. Now, as we are speaking, this is the next thing that we want to be interested in, is the quarterfinal. So PSG or Liverpool will face Club Brugge or Aston Villa. Could we see Liverpool versus Aston Villa in the quarterfinal? That would be phenomenal. Absolutely outstanding tie for Aston Villa. Aston Villa, who, by the way, must be absolutely buzzing and loving life in the Champions League. So the brackets are being preset as well. So PSG or Liverpool, the winners of them will play Club Brugge or Aston Villa. That is absolutely mad. Then, you guessed it, PSV versus Arsenal will be the first tie, and we will play the winners of Real Madrid or Atletico Madrid. We don't really want any of them, do we? Let's be honest. We don't want any of them. But we all knew that if we were going to get far past, which was either going to be PSV or Feyenoord, that it was probably going to be Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, or Atletico Madrid. And of course, Bayer Leverkusen, Xabi Alonso's team, could still, over two legs, beat Bayern Munich, who struggled this season in the new format of the Champions League, albeit are still in the last the next round. We've got Benfica or Barcelona versus Dortmund or Lille. I really fancy Barcelona across all of those four teams. And if I'm honest with you, Barcelona have really fell on their feet there, in my opinion. They have got the clear, easiest side of the draw there. Quite an easy route to the semi-finals, if I'm honest with you. PSV or Arsenal will face Real Madrid or Atletico Madrid. So let's try and predict it. That is where we are at. Let's try and predict. Barcelona will beat Benfica. Dortmund, I think, will beat Lille. and it will be Barcelona versus Dortmund. In that tie, I think Barcelona will win. That puts them into the semi-finals. With PSV and Arsenal, I do think Arsenal will get through against PSV, but I think Real Madrid will beat Atletico Madrid because they're just Real Madrid and it's their competition. And then I think Arsenal will go out in the quarterfinals to Real Madrid. I just got to be honest. I don't think we're beating either Real Madrid or Atletico Madrid. PSG Liverpool, I expect Liverpool to win that. And I actually expect Aston Villa to beat Club Brugge. And then my money would be on Liverpool. So I'm going to go with a semi-final of Liverpool, Real Madrid, Barcelona, and what have I gone with? Barcelona. We've got we've got more, haven't we? We've got Bayern Munich, Leverkusen versus Feyenoord or Inter Milan, which has snuck up. I completely forgot about that one. So you've got Bayern Munich, who I think are going to beat Bayer Leverkusen, if I'm honest. I fancy Inter Milan with Simone Inzaghi. And then I would fancy Inter Milan over 2 legs. So I'm going to go Inter Milan, Barcelona, Liverpool, Real Madrid. That's my predicted semi-final. That is my prediction. But we get through versus PSV and we've got Real Madrid, and we've got to hope that our players are back because we've got no chance at the moment of going through against Real Madrid with this attack that we've got. And let's be real, Real Madrid, they're not the Real Madrid of old. They're not, but they certainly are better than what Arsenal have got, in my opinion. So look, let's go through it from the beginning again because people were getting quite confused, and those that have joined late will not know this. So Club Brugge have drew themselves versus Aston Villa. You've got Borussia Dortmund, who will face Lille. You've got Real Madrid that will face Atletico Madrid. Bayern Munich will face Bayer Leverkusen. PSV will face Arsenal. And what's interesting is it's actually at PSV first. So Arsenal will play their second leg at home, which a lot of people say is an advantage. Feyenoord will face Inter Milan. PSG will face Liverpool. Benfica will face Barcelona. And then we go into the quarterfinals. So the winners of PSG versus Liverpool will play Club Brugge or Villa. The winners of PSV or Arsenal will play Real Madrid or Atletico Madrid. The winners of Bayer Leverkusen and Bayern Munich will play either Feyenoord or Inter Milan. And then the semi-finals, as we all know, will go from there. So it will be the winners of, let's say, Arsenal versus Madrid playing Liverpool or Aston Villa. So we're actually seeing now our kind of journey, I suppose, through the draw. So the winners of PSV or Arsenal will play Madrid or Atletico Madrid. If Arsenal beat PSV and Real Madrid beat Atletico, it will be Arsenal versus Madrid. And then in the semi-final, we'll play Liverpool or Villa. And then, basically in the final, we'll play Barcelona or Inter Milan. If this is the predictions going through my mind right now. So, look, we get to this stage. If we get past PSV, we can't start being fussy about who we might get and who we won't get. Because let's just have it right. It's going to be absolutely mad. It's going to be mad if we get through against PSV. We're not going to have any time to start be fussy and pick and choose. So it's not an easy side of the draw for Arsenal. I didn't expect it to be. There's not an easy draw in the Champions League when you get through to the last 16. But right now, we're seeing the semi-final draw in front of your eyes. We've got PSV. If we beat them, we've got Real Madrid or Atletico Madrid. If we beat them, we've got PSG, Liverpool, Villa or Club Brugge. And then if we were to get to the final, we could get one of Benfica, Barcelona, Dortmund, Lille, Munich, Bayern Munich, Bayer Leverkusen, Feyenoord or Inter Milan. Now, out of those teams there on the other side of our draw, I would expect Barcelona or Inter Milan to get to the final. I would. I'd expect them to get right to the way to the final. I'll go Barcelona just because of how they're playing on the Hansi Flick. But Simone Inzaghi and Inter Milan, they're always good in that competition. But I will go for Barcelona. On the other side, our side of the draw, I've got to say it's going to be Real Madrid. And if I had to predict, I'd probably go Real Madrid-Barcelona final, you know. An El Clasico Champions League final. How many times has that happened? How many times has that happened? So look, that is the draw in full, people. We have to get past PSV first. That's where we're at. We've already played some of these teams, by the way. Yeah. And I'm not just talking about the Liverpools and Aston Villas, of course, domestically. We've already played PSG. We've already played Inter Milan so far, in the old format, new format. of this group, whatever you want to call it. I like the new format. I don't know what you guys' thoughts are about the new format. I quite like it. I think that as much as people might cry and think this is the start of the European Super League, I do think it has been a hell of a lot better. I actually do think it has been better. So there we have it, people. The semi-final draw. Wow. So yeah, let me know your predictions of the final. Now that you know the routes, everyone's routes to it. Let me know in the chat who's going to get to the final there. I'm going to go Real Madrid Barcelona final. An El Clasico final is all set up for it. I think the other side of the draw, I'm not going to say it's easy, but it's easier than ours. I think when you look at the sides we've got, other than PSV, Arsenal, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, PSG, Liverpool, Club Bruges really, I imagine, will go out to Aston Villa quite comfortably, and I'd like to think that Arsenal will get past PSV quite comfortably. But you never know in this game. You never know with what is happening at the moment with our situation. It really is going to be quite difficult. I don't know if you guys can see that, but this is at the moment the route to the final. You might have to put me on landscape or try and zoom in somehow. I wonder if I can zoom in actually. Try and make this a bit easier for you guys. There we go. Hopefully that is a little bit easier for you. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. Let's try and make that a bit easier. So here we go. The route to the final as it stands. Let's start with the top left. Round of 16. PSG or Liverpool. We believe, in my opinion, and I'm sure you do in the chat, that Liverpool over 2 legs will have too much for PSG. And I think them at Anfield at the European night is just something special. So I'm going to go for Liverpool. Club Bruges, I expect to give it a good go, but Aston Villa over 2 legs, I think will win that. And then we will have Liverpool and Aston Villa as our first quarterfinal. Wow. 2 English clubs meeting in the quarterfinals. Then the other quarterfinals will be either Real Madrid or Atletico Madrid. Now, I think that is probably the best tie. Whoops. Let's go down because we've missed that. Someone else has come up now. I think this is the best game. Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid. That for me is going to be the best game. I personally believe that Real Madrid will be too much over 2 legs. Now, Diego Simeone is brilliant. I absolutely love him. I think he's superb and would be brilliant over in the Premier League. But I do fancy Real Madrid because it's their competition. I can never write off Real Madrid in this competition, ever. Yeah. 14 Champions Leagues. Come on. PSV or Arsenal, I expect it will be Arsenal. That means that Real Madrid will play Arsenal in the quarterfinals. And the winners of Real Madrid Arsenal will play Liverpool or Villa in the semi-finals. Wow. The other side of the draw, we've got Benfica and Barcelona. I expect Barcelona to beat Benfica. They will play Dortmund or Lille. I expect Dortmund over 2 legs to beat Lille, but Lille have a very surprising team this season. That means Barcelona or Dortmund will play either Bayern Munich or Leverkusen. I think that will be Bayern Munich over 2 legs. Feyenoord or Inter Milan. Now, I'm not writing off Feyenoord because they've been very, very impressive, right? We really wanted, if I'm honest, we wanted Feyenoord because we would have been over the other side. Now, I understand that we would have had Barcelona or Bayern Munich in the semi-finals and quarterfinals, so it's not really much easier than Liverpool or Real Madrid. But if you had to avoid one side of the draw, you'd avoid Real Madrid. And Arsenal have not done that. But listen, if you're going to win, you've got to beat the best, right? That's what's got to happen. We wanted to be in this scenario. We want to play teams of this caliber. Yes, we'd like to avoid them until we get to the final. I'd love to be in Villa's position right now. I'd love to be in Feyenoord's position right now. I'd love to be in Lille's position right now, if I'm honest. But you've got to play, even in those positions, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Liverpool. You've got to play one of those 4 teams if you get through this next fixture. So what is the best scenario? Maybe Arsenal are in the worst because it's Real Madrid, right? And I get why people might think that. But let's just be real. There's an opportunity here, first of all, against PSV that we've got to take care of. So then we move to the semi-finals. The semi-finals, in my opinion, I don't think Arsenal have got enough to beat Real Madrid over 2 legs. I just don't. Liverpool, I think, will have too much for PSG and Villa or Bruges. So I think it will be a semi-final of Liverpool and Real Madrid. The other semi-final, I think, will be Inter Milan and Barcelona. Therefore, it could be Liverpool, Inter Milan, Liverpool, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Inter Milan, Real Madrid, Barcelona. What are we thinking? I think it could be an El Clasico Champions League final. I'm going to say it. I think it could be an El Clasico Champions League final, looking at things here. Now, normally, I will say this, I get predictions wrong a lot. I get predictions wrong a lot. Who knows? It could be a Barcelona-Arsenal final back from 2006. Wouldn't that be fantastic? A lot of the neutrals will probably be wishing that it's an El Clasico final. But what are the best scenarios for a final? What do you think would be the best final to watch? I've got to say, I think it would be Real Madrid-Barcelona. I think that would be absolutely phenomenal. Now, of course, I want Arsenal to get to the final, but I think we just have to be realistic. I don't think Arsenal have got enough. I don't think we did enough across the 2 summers and transfer windows to say that we have the squad capable of going all the way in either the Premier League or the Champions League. And after that, I think it's going to take a miracle to get past Real Madrid. I really do. Now, the only thing I will say is crazier things have happened in football. If you ask me now, that route to the final, meaning basically the following teams go out. If we get to the final, there's no PSG, there's no Liverpool, there's no Club Brugge, there's no Villa, there's no Real Madrid, there's no Atletico Madrid, and there's no PSV. That means I can take one of those teams in the final. If it is for me, in my mind, who would I want? It would be Barcelona in the final because I want revenge from 2006. That was a crazy final. I'd rather them have scored instead of Jens Lehmann getting sent off. I'd rather have gone 1-0 down and kept 11 men because it would have been 1-1 with Sol Campbell's header and it would have been all to play for. Because we tied in the last 20 minutes. We had 20 minutes of winning the Champions League, 20 minutes away from winning the Champions League, and we crumbled due to fatigue and tiredness. People thought it was lack of quality. The first goal was offside. The second goal, Almunia's got to do better from his near post. I'll never, ever forget that game. Samuel Eto'o and Belletti. Oh, close to tears that night was I. 2006. It would have shut every football fan up rival-wise. Arsenal winning a Champions League in 2006. We deserved it that year. I would absolutely love to see Arsenal and Barcelona in the final. But if I had to put my money on it now, it would be a Real Madrid, Barcelona, El Clasico final. That's what I think it would be. Look, I hope I'm wrong and Arsenal do the unthinkable. But I just don't think Arsenal have got the squad. Look, I've always said that Arsenal have got more chance of winning the Champions League. There's a couple of reasons for that. One is the position we find ourselves in the Premier League, which, let's be real, could change this weekend. Yeah? We beat West Ham and Forest, and they don't beat Man City and Newcastle title on properly. Could change, but very highly unlikely with 7 home games at Anfield that they drop 4 or 5 games. Very, very unlikely, but they could do. Then I look at the reasons that our squad just isn't quite good enough. The reason I have said that the Champions League is more suited to us this season, and it's not in general because our European heritage is naff, right? So we can't say, oh, I fancy Arsenal in the Champions League before a ball's kicked because let's just be real. Overall, we don't really tend to do too well in Europe. The one other thing to the defence of Arsenal not doing too well in this competition is the fact that Arteta's European Cup record is absolutely abysmal. And in fact, his cup record is abysmal with Arsenal. But if there's any positive to take, because I get told I'm negative all the time, if there's any positives to take, we do have a resolute, compact squad. We do have a very good defensive set of players. When you look at how we can set up in these games, if we were to start switching it around, we could be playing the Calafiores, Gabriel Salibas, Ben Whites, Timbers, Tierney's. We've got players that can all defend. We've also got defensive midfielders galore: Partey, Jorginho, Rice, Marino. We've also got some attack-minded players at the moment that are at least showing a little bit of flair, like Ethan Nwaneri. So as much as I think we're asking for a miracle, that's the position that we have put ourselves in. Yeah, it hasn't been a position of, oh, that's a bit unlucky. Arsenal found himself like that. We could say that if we had all of our players fit now and we get to March and all of them become injured. But because they were all injured in the month where a transfer window was open and we did nothing about it, we only really have ourselves to blame and look at. So I can't get behind this, oh, Arsenal have been unlucky. Yes, we were unlucky back in December. We had the whole of January to do something about that and we chose not to. So therefore, there is no excuses now. Nobody can say, Arsenal, you've been so unlucky with injuries because we did nothing about it. Nothing about it. So Saka and Havertz are the 2 that are going to be injured from the first 11. Everybody else is fit. Yeah. Jesus is the only other one that's long-term alongside Tomiyasu, but they haven't played for the majority of the season. You can't tell me that those 2 are massive losses when you haven't had them for the most part of the year. So Havertz and Saka are the 2 that are a loss. Martinelli will be back in a few weeks. That's going to be March time. They reckon that Saka might be back by around about April. So we've got April, May that we're going to potentially have all of our players back other than Jesus and Havertz. That is going to be very, very difficult still. But if Saka isn't right, please don't rush him back, people. Please don't rush him back. So there we have it. Predictions. Liverpool v Villa. Arsenal v Real Madrid. Real Madrid v Liverpool. Madrid final. Barcelona to beat Benfica. Dortmund to beat Lille. Barcelona to beat Dortmund. Bayern Munich to beat Leverkusen. Inter Milan to beat Feyenoord. Inter Milan to beat Bayern Munich. Barcelona, Inter Milan, Barcelona final. Real Madrid, Barcelona final is my prediction. Wow. One unbelievable Champions League draw. Can you imagine an El Clasico final, people? Wow. That would be pretty outstanding, wouldn't it? Make sure you run the likes up. Make sure you hit subscribe, people. Come on. Now, a lot of people at the chat have spoken about this. Ray's just put it in there. Imagine if Arsenal lose to PSV. Now, that could happen, people. People might not like to hear it, but Arsenal could actually lose to PSV. This isn't a given. It's a nice draw. You'd rather have that than a Real Madrid or one of the others. But yeah, we could actually lose to PSV. I'm sorry, like people keep to being positive and all that, but we have to be realistic about this, that this isn't going to be a walk in the park. Anybody who thinks this is going to be a breeze now, that Arsenal just walks themselves past PSV and find Real Madrid in the quarterfinals. Nah, man. And people also that say, oh my God, we're so unlucky with draws. We've got Bayern Munich and then Real Madrid. Yeah, that's what happens when you get to the quarters or the semis, people. You're never going to have a breeze to the final. Barcelona have probably got it the easiest, but they've still got to face Inter Milan in the semis. I would say they've got the easiest draw. The easiest side of the draw for me is Barcelona. If I said to you, your next teams are Benfica and Dortmund, and then you'll face Bayern Munich or Inter, you'd take that, wouldn't you? You're into the semis if you're Barcelona, in my opinion. Yeah? Now, crazy things can happen in football. PSV, let's have a look at how they're doing and let's have a look at what they're up to in their domestic league, shall we? Because PSV, let's be real, are a team that I've always kind of respected, but we've always had. If you look at the head-to-head history of Arsenal and PSV, you'd be quite surprised, if I'm honest with you. We have played them 8 times in Europe. We've won 3, drew 4, and lost 1. We've scored 12 goals against them and conceded 4. Let's see how they're doing in their domestic league. So I genuinely don't know what they're up to at the moment. I genuinely don't know what they're up to. They're second in the league behind Ajax, and they are 2 points off Ajax. So they're doing well. They're doing really well. They're doing a hell of a lot better than Feyenoord as it goes. So we probably wanted Feyenoord over them. Feyenoord are 14 points off the top in 4th. 3 points behind Utrecht in 3rd, who are doing unbelievable, by the way. My friend Roger's going to be absolutely buzzing. He's a big Utrecht fan. But yeah, PSV and Ajax are doing well. PSV have drew 2-2 in their last game against Utrecht, funnily enough. Beat Juventus, obviously. Beat them 3-1, which was unbelievable because they lost 2-1 in the first leg. So they did really well, to be honest. Beat them 4-3 on aggregate. So it ain't going to be easy. It is not going to be easy. Let's take a look at their squad as well, by the way, because I actually don't know who they have in their squad right now that we need to be aware of. They have Perisic, old school, even Perisic. They have Luke de Jong, who everybody will know about. Bakayoko, a winger who definitely deserves a lot of respect and a lot of credit. I think against us in the Europa League a couple of years ago, he was absolutely superb against Arsenal. They've got Noah Lang, who was at Club Brugge, who's now at PSV, or more of a kind of inside forward winger, who Arsenal were looking at a few seasons ago. Fantastic. Serginho Dest, as you all know from Barcelona, I think he's a fullback. He is absolutely rapid, a proper good player. So they have got some players that can hurt us. There's not any others that I recognise of late, but a lot of people may recognise some of them. But I will say this: it is not going to be easy against PSV. We have to do our job and get across the line. They've definitely got some players over the years that I've respected. Xavi Simons was coming on loan from PSV. He's obviously now at Leipzig. Ibrahim Sangare, I was a fan of, who's gone to Nottingham Forest and not really been able to hold down a place because of the form of the Nottingham Forest team at the moment. But he is a player who's come from PSV. And over the years, there's been unbelievable players that have come from PSV. If you look at Ruud van Nistelrooy, you look at R9, Ronaldo, you look at Arjen Robben, they've all come from PSV. And have been absolutely phenomenal in the Premier League, majority of those. So you have to look at that and respect them. But let's just be real. Even without Bukayo Saka, we should still be beating PSV, people. We should still be beating PSV. I'm sorry. We should absolutely be beating PSV. So that's where I'm at. Next round, I totally appreciate that it becomes difficult. I totally appreciate that. And yeah, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be really tough against Real Madrid. And there's going to be a lot of excitement if we was to get there. Look, I would absolutely love nothing more than to get through against PSV. And I am going to go to the Bernabeu. I am. I've not been. If we do get there, I will go 100%. I'll be trying to get tickets to go to the Bernabeu. That is for sure what I'll be doing. Not been, not been, been to the new camp. Haven't been anywhere else actually. I've not really done many European aways. Big up to Wolfie in the chat. Big up to 12th man. Great job on the Big Six yesterday. Yeah, if you didn't go watch Big Six last night, I was on it. Go check that out. Turkish wasn't about. And a really funny call in from Big Steve, who was still driving back from the airport from Real Madrid. Barcelona game, Real Madrid Man City game, should I say? So yeah, make sure you go check the Big Six out last night. It was a lit show. Probably about 35 minutes of it, maybe even 40 minutes of it at the start, talking about the definition of world class. And no one can still tell me what the definition of world class is. When everyone says to me, do you think Saka or Saliba are world class, Dan? Tell me the definition. And everyone gives you a different definition. Oh, it's the top 5 positions in the world. Oh, it's the top 5 of your best 5 of your position. It's the top best 3 of your position. You'd get into a world 11. You walk into any team and make them better. You can play in any Champions League team. No one has a clue what world class is, man. Nobody has a clue what world class is. It really is crazy. Big up to Chazza. Can you fit in my rucksack? You probably can't, but I'll take you with me, mate, if I get tickets. All right, I'll make a promise to you if I can get the amount of tickets. We'll go together. Big up to you, man. I hope you're well, Chazza. Yeah, Wolfie says, don't get me started on that, man. That went on for way too long. I had no idea what any of them were talking about in the end. It was absolutely madness, to be fair. Big up to everyone for tuning in because there's so many people live at the moment. It's amazing to get as many of you guys as there is in. We've got everybody live, literally everybody I know is live. So I thought, shall I go live with them? Well, yeah, I ain't got time in the day to do it. So let's just go live and see who joins. So big up to every single one of you for joining. It's amazing to get so many as 300 of you in here. I expected to get about 100. So big up to you. I really appreciate it with everyone else that's live as well. Unbelievable. Thank you so much. Please make sure you hit the like button because you've only got 80 likes. That's terrible. Let's get that up to 200 likes, please, people. Let's hit the like button. If it's not by the time you get to it at 200, make sure you are the 200th person. Let's get these in and up. Make sure you hit subscribe. We're on our way to the big 40. 40K is our next target. So please make sure that you do that. It'd be amazing to get that done. Kyle, I agree with you. Grizz did not want to get a cooking last night, so we kept diverting away from the Liverpool chat. Yeah, big up to you, man. I thought that as well. I love Grizz, but he didn't want to hold any L's last night, that's for sure. But make sure you go check out Big Six from last night. It was a good laugh, as it always is. So there we go. Champions League draw is done and dusted. And Arsenal, if they do get through against PSV, will get one of Real Madrid or Atletico Madrid. Now, something we haven't touched on is Atletico Madrid. Could they beat Real Madrid? I think they could, you know. The way they're playing at the moment, I think they're in 3rd place in the La Liga. They're playing well. Diego Simeone's got them playing again. They are a team who actually have a squad that you don't believe, you forget how good it is. You forget how good it is. Yeah. Obviously, Julian Alvarez has gone there. They've got Griezmann still. They've got Simone, who is actually Diego Simeone's son, who's absolutely superb. Conor Gallagher's there. They've got Rodrigo de Paul. They've got Jan Oblak still. They've got Koke, as they call him. They've got Jimenez. They've got Raquelme, who's been brilliant. Thomas Lemar is still there, people. Correa, Marcus Llorente. Who else have they got? Aspilicueta, Axel Witsel. They've got Molina. Yeah. They've got a very, very good squad. And under Diego Simeone, you always know what you're going to get. You're going to get some absolutely horrendous football to try and play against because it is absolutely nasty as it comes. But you got to love Diego Simeone. He's great for the game. So, yeah, Simeone, could they do a job on Real Madrid? Yeah, but I fancy Real Madrid. If I'm honest, Mbappe's on fire right now. They've still got Vinny Jr. flying. They've got Valverde, who, by the way, is an absolutely phenomenal footballer. He's one of those players you can put in any position. He actually makes James Milner look less of a utility man than him. Like, he literally goes and plays everywhere, whether it's up front, whether it's right back, whether it's on the wing, whether it's in midfield, whether it's attacking, defending. He is absolutely superb. I'm a big, big fan of Valverde. I think he would be probably one of the midfielders that I would look at bringing in if I could have a dream midfielder. Barella would be one. Valverde would be another. And I've got to say, another one that might surprise you that I would love to sign this summer has been one that's impressed me for a while and reminds me of Jude Bellingham. Morgan Rogers at Villa looks like an absolute elite baller. He looks so good in that box-to-box role. He just waltzes through midfields and top midfields as well. He did it with us. He did it at the other night against Liverpool, and he's done it in the Champions League. He has been a phenomenal signing for them from Middlesbrough. Coming through the youth academy again at Manchester City. How do they let these guys go? Manchester City have let some absolutely incredible talents leave their academy. And I'm not just talking about Jadon Sancho and Liam Delap and Pedro Porro and Harwood Bellis. There's players like Lavia. There's players like Morgan Rogers. There's players like Cole Palmer. These are top elite players that are going to make it to the top level. And they've let them walk out of their youth academy. It's crazy. What's even crazier is that Man City can't actually replace them at the moment. That's what's even crazier. So look, that's where I'm at. Yeah, I feel like Real Madrid, Barcelona, El Clasico would be my bet. But if I have my heart, I'd love Arsenal to get it all the way to the final and face Barcelona and get a repeat of 2006, get some revenge. That's what I want. But what I want is not always what I get. And unfortunately, Arsenal have put themselves in a very, very tough position now where it's going to be very, very hard to win either the Premier League or the Champions League. And the windows have done that, people. The windows have done that, which is very frustrating for me to see because I look at what we could have had. If we would have gone and bought a forward and attacker in January, we would have gone and sorted ourselves out in terms of reinforcements. I think we would have had a really good chance of winning some silverware, but we haven't done that. We have not done that. Kyle makes a good point. Arsenal have quarters and semis first leg at home. So if we are to get out of this PSV situation, then we would be at home first in both of those legs. And that is not the advantage to have, to be fair. Unless, of course, you do your job. Because if you win 2-0 and you take a 2-0 advantage away from home, you've got a brilliant chance. If you don't do your job at home in the first leg, yeah, it's tough. It really is tough. Let's move to West Ham before we do start to come to the second part of the show and come to a close. Because for me, this is a must-win game now. Liverpool got Manchester City. Before we touch on Arsenal, West Ham, let's touch on that. I think Liverpool beat them. I think they do. And the reason I say that is because I don't think Manchester City are the same. And I appreciate they've started to pick up a little bit, but they got absolutely bopped off the park the other night by a top side. And Liverpool are a top side. I think Liverpool can drive through them. I think they can walk through their midfield if they play Bernardo and Gundogan again. I think that is like a granddad OAP midfield that, let's be real, Gravenberch, McAllister and Szoboszlai are going to have fun with. Salah's going to have a field day because they're defensively are not very good at the moment, Man City. They're conceding goals left, right and centre. And if I'm honest with you, as much as I rate Nico Gonzalez that's come in, I don't think they are still the same. And I know they're trying to be positive and call him Mini Rodri, but he isn't Rodri. John Stones is out. More injury news for Manchester City. You've got Haaland and KDB that have been rested the other night. Why is that? Is that because they haven't got the legs, or is that because they're not quite fit? Is that because they're not quite ready yet? Or are they just being rested for the game on Sunday? It's going to be huge. Everyone's going to be watching it. A lot of people are saying it's going to be a draw. A lot of people are saying City could do the unthinkable and beat them. Or is it the unthinkable? It's at the Etihad. Man City is still a good side. They've still got goals in their side. Could they do Arsenal a favour? A lot of the City fans don't want to do us a favour. Most of the City fans I've spoken to want to lose this game so that we can't win the league. Because they hate Arsenal because of how we treated them this season. I mean, come on, man. Let's just honestly, crazy. But We've got to do our job first. I don't care what happens at Liverpool City because it matters more what happens at Arsenal. Because if Liverpool were to drop points or lose and Arsenal don't win, I'd be even more pissed off. I've got to be real with you. I've got to be. Yeah. It's one of those like, kill me now, don't leave me torturing me. And that's what it will feel like. So if we drop points and they drop points, I'll be really peeved off. We cannot drop points against West Ham. Now, everyone's seen this, but I'm going to put it up again because this is what I would do against West Ham. And a lot of people have said that they would agree with me here. Let me know what your thoughts are. This is the formation that I changed that I would go with. So it would be a 3-4-3. I know I've put them in slightly different positions, but that was because I was mucking around with the tactics board the other day. So that is where I would be at. Okay. David Raya in goal. You can't see that, but obviously it's Raya in goal. And then I would go over back three. Saliba and Gabriel, but I would bring Calafiori into the mix as a back three. Now, you could bring Kieran Tierney in if you really wanted to, but I feel like Calafiori is the guy that Arteta sees as his future, so I'm going with him. Partey and Rice would be in that double pivot in midfield, sitting just in front of that back three. And then you've got two wing backs in Lewis Skelly and Jurriën Timber. Now, on the Big Six last night, Tobes questioned Timber playing as a wing back, but I absolutely believe he can do it. I think he is somebody that looks quite consistent. Going forward, he looks great. Defensively, he's phenomenal. I think Timber could play there. And Lewis Skelly, there's no doubt he can. I think everybody likes to see what Lewis Skelly can do on the ball driving forward. And I think I've been so impressed with him and his composure on the ball that I'll be more than happy with him in that wing-back role. Partey and Rice, that's their natural positions. They can sweep up anything. You've got back three behind it, which is a solid wall. And then you've got a front three, which, let's be real, no one's questioning, is Sterling going to start? Should Marino start? Well, when you play these three, they're the only three you can start. And that's Odegaard, Waneri, and Trossard. And that doesn't allow you to have the need to worry or chop and change or have a bit of a thought about what happens to Marino, what happens to Sterling. Do you do something different and put one of the different players you never thought of in the front three? Does Nathan Butler here, Deji come into the mix? No. I don't think Marino or Sterling should start. I think Marino coming on is fine. But if you play a front three with a 4-3-3, like he has been playing, then I think he'll play Marino, Waneri, and Trossard. Some people think he'll remain stubborn and he'll stick with Sterling on the left, Waneri on the right, and Trossard through the middle and bring on Marino. Some people are saying that. And others are saying that we should change things. And I think we should. I would have more faith going forward with this formation now till the end of the season than I would in the old style 4-3-3, just because we've run out of attackers now. And we've got everything at the back. Now, the other thing that was really interesting here is you have got subs on the bench that if any of them get a knock in that first 11, they can all come in and deputise in a comfortable manner. So let's just take, for example, Ben White. He's back. You could start him, to be fair. Maybe you will start him. But Ben White can come in comfortably in one of those back three roles, as could Kivior, as could Kieran Tierney. Zinchenko or Tierney could play in the left wing back role. Ben White could probably play in the right wing back role, but I'd rather have him defensive first, but he can overlap. We've seen that. Jorginho, if he was having to come on, could quite comfortably slot into Partey or Rice's position. Waneri could drop into the Odegaard role, but Marino could also play there or up top. Sterling can play in the Trossard role. I know that we don't want to see him there, but he could come on. So when you look at the bench, you think, yeah, there's nothing on that bench that excites me, but at least they can all come on and actually naturally play there. If you're playing 4-3-3, you've got to try and fit Sterling into one of the wide positions or through the middle. If you're playing 4-3-3, Marino's got to come on in one of the attacking positions or in the attacking eight. If Zinchenko comes on, he has to really play left back, which I hate. Tierney or Kivior are coming in similarly. And then you've obviously got Ben White who can play at right back. Jorginho, likewise, that can only really come in as the six, not the other position. You'd have to change it to the double pivot. So for me, I think our bench, if you haven't played this formation, our bench is more like for like, which is what Mikel Arteta wants to do. He never changes it up completely, which is why I don't believe this is going to be happening. Yeah. This is a formation I think makes sense, and it's not one that I can see Mikel Arteta working alongside. What I think he will go with is completely different. Let's go with what I think he will go with, right? So I think what he'll go with is a back four, and he will go with the old style, which is this. Okay. Now, in Calafiori's position, it will be Sterling. Oh, actually, let's go with what we believe. Let's actually go with Trossard over there. And then in Trossard's position up front, it will be Marino, as we suspect. Now, this is the team that I think most people are probably going to go with, right? This is the team that I think most people believe it will be. Raya in goal, Lewis Skelly left back, Gabriel, Saliba, and then Timber at right back. Could be Ben White. Could play Ben White right back and Timber left back, but I think Lewis Skelly deserves his place. I think he's been phenomenal. Partey and Rice, Odegaard in that kind of attacking 8/10, and then Trossard left, Waneri right, and Marino through the middle. Now, we could play Sterling and bring on Marino. He could play Sterling through the middle and bring on Marino. We don't know. We don't know, to be fair. But look, that is what I believe he'll go with. Do I think that's better than the other formation I just put up with? No, I don't. I think the other formation's better. I think we have a much more compact, resolute side, but I also think we've got more of a chance of doing well in transition because of our wing backs. I actually quite like wing backs, three at the back. I think it's becoming more popular over the years. We saw Conte do it, Simone Inzaghi does it, the old school managers do it. I like it. I've got to say, I like it. But it's not my favourite formation, I'll say that. My favourite formation, if you had to brutally ask me, would be old school 4-4-2. I love the fact that we've got two centre forwards, one little, one large. That's what I do like. Yeah. I grew up on Kevin Campbell and Ian Wright. I grew up on Merson and Wright, Bergkamp and Wright, Bergkamp and Henry, Bergkamp and Anelka. It was superb. Yeah. I remember having Bergkamp and Henry and Carnu and Wiltord as your backup. Now, we haven't even got one striker, let alone four. Crazy. But this formation is probably where he's going. Do we think that this is the team that will start? Put yes in the chat if you think this is the team that will start tomorrow against West Ham. Just put yes in the chat, because some people are saying Sterling will start and it will be Marino that actually comes on. If he's stubborn, then he will do that. But surely Marino deserves to play through the middle now after coming on and scoring 2 goals. Most people, well, not most people, few people are saying no in the chat. Do you think that will be the team? No. In fact, let me know who you think the front three will be. If you think the front three will be what it was against Leicester, then put it in the chat. Put it in the chat, because this should be the lineup if he's going 4-3-3. I'm sorry. There's no way you can start Sterling. If he starts Sterling, wow. I mean, what has he done to justify a start? Marino absolutely has to start if we're going with this formation. Now, I think we will go with this formation, and I happen to think this will be the team, because I think he just has to play this team now. I don't think we could be in a position where we're not. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy to think that he would think of going anywhere other than that. It's just absolutely mad. So yeah, it's crazy. The other thing I wanted to do was talk about the fixtures. Sorry, I'm just trying to get other pages up here. Bear with me a second, guys. There we go. Okay. The other thing I wanted to do was to talk about the West Ham lineup. Now, they've obviously got some problems. Paqueta's out with an injury, but they do have Bowen back. They have got Kudus, who's a talent, who hasn't been great this season, but he's a top talent. And they've obviously, in the middle there, got some talented footballers now, West Ham. You know, Carlos Soler is a very good on the ball. Obviously, they've got, what's his name? Completely forgot his name. Alvarez, that's his name, who does the work over there for in a kind of defensive role. He's kind of replaced Declan Rice, I suppose, really. He's nowhere near that level, but he's kind of been that replacement. But at the back is where we can get them. We can get them, 100%. We've got a raid as well. Big up to you. We've got Chanzo, T Chanzo Sports, absolute legend, man. Thank you so much, bro. I really, really appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much for that. Absolute legend. Make sure you hit the like, people. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Big up to everyone that's still in the house. 266 of you still in here, which is amazing considering who is live and how everyone is live. Some of the massive channels are live as well. So big up to all of you for being with me. I really appreciate that. Make sure you hit the like button and you hit subscribe. And you're following Reality Raffles on Instagram. Please make sure you're doing that and you're getting your tickets in, because there's unbelievable prizes over there that you have to get involved in. So please make sure that you do that. My prediction for West Ham. Arsenal 2, West Ham 0. I'm going to go with Ethan Nwaneri to score, and I'm going to go with a Gabriel header. That's what I'm going with. I'm going 2-0. I don't think Arsenal are going to be putting 4s or 5 past teams now to the end of the season. I just don't think we have enough quality through the attack. I do think that we can score goals, and I think we've proven that against Leicester. Maybe Marino scores again. Maybe I'm doing him an injustice. I just fancy Ethan to have a good game, and I think he'll get player of the match. I think Ethan is that good. I really, really appreciate Ethan Nwaneri. This season at 17 years old, he's done more than Saka's ever done at 18 and 19. He's got into the first team. He stayed there. He's been one of our best players. He's been consistent. He's been fearless. His confidence, his intent to actually drive us forward. Hitting the bar with his right foot, hitting the crossbar with his left foot, having a go, looking a threat, cutting inside and letting defenses have nightmares. This kid's going to be talented, people. This kid's going to go to the top. Now, I know for a fact when he was signing a new deal at Arsenal that every club in England wanted him. Whether you're West Ham, Newcastle, Brighton, Forest, Man United, Liverpool or City, they all wanted Ethan Nwaneri and he chose Arsenal, thank goodness. He is a phenomenal talent. And if I'm honest with you, I am going to stand by this. Right now, if I had to pick my player of the season, there's 3 that I would put forward. Thomas Partey, Gabriel, and David Raya. I think Ethan can win player of the year for Arsenal this season. From now to the end of the season, I think Ethan Nwaneri can actually win player of the season for Arsenal this season. Not that I want to put huge amounts of pressure on him, because that's not really pressure, is it? Asking him to win a title would be, or to win the Champions League would be. But I honestly believe that he is in line to become one of Arsenal's players of the season, because I truly believe he is that talented this season, and I think he's going to get the chance. Now, touch wood, he doesn't get injured, because that's been our problem this season, but I truly believe he could be an absolutely phenomenal player for Arsenal. And I'll say this, when Saka comes back, Ethan starts. Not ahead of Saka, he starts with Saka. So you have Saka right, you have Ødegaard and Nwaneri, and then you have Partey or Rice in the 6. Yeah? Or, if you really want to, and you want to be that brave, because we haven't exactly got many players at the moment, you put Nwaneri or Saka on the other wing, and you put them both on the wings, and have Ødegaard. That's what you could do. So you could have Partey, Rice, Ødegaard, Nwaneri, Saka, and Trossard or Marino. That's what you could do. Some people are saying that you could actually switch it around and allow Saka or Nwaneri to go through the middle, or Martinelli to go through the middle, maybe. Maybe you play Martinelli through the middle. Maybe you play Nwaneri through the middle. We're going to have to find something, because when Martinelli comes back and Saka comes back, there ain't going to be a striker still. So either one of them has to become our striker. My probably money would be on Martinelli. Otherwise, yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. So, look, let's see what we do in the Champions League. Premier League is back this weekend. It's going to be tough. Really tough, by the way. I do feel like there's an opportunity for Arsenal to do well against West Ham. But the problem I've got is where I want to end. The fixtures coming up. These next 3 games, and I mean game weeks, as in the whole Premier League game weeks, I think we're going to find out what we need to know when Arsenal face West Ham, Forest, and Manchester United. At Old Trafford, that result, we will have an understanding of where Liverpool are at and where we're at. If we've dropped points, it's done. If Liverpool have won them all, it's done. If Liverpool have dropped points alongside us, then yeah, fair play. We can actually still talk about it. But if Liverpool drop points and Arsenal win, wow. I'll finish with this. We have to shithouse our way through and stink some 1-0s, 2-1s. And we were doing that at the start of this season, if you remember, people. Yeah? Remember when we faced Wolves, we won 2-0. Then we went to Villa, we won 2-0. We had City, we managed not to lose. We were resolute against Tottenham, we won 1-0. Drew 0-0 to Atalanta. We had the 1-0s, 2-1s, 2-0s. We were stinking our way through some of them games, and it was like, I ain't enjoying this. I'm not moaning one bit if we do that from now to the end of the season. You could moan back then because you want to be scary, you want to be scintillating, you want to blitz teams, you want to be like, wow, Arsenal are back. It was early days. Now, when it matters, it's more about performances back then. Now it's about results. I don't care if it comes off of Gabriel's backside every single game and we win 1-0. I'm taking it. Let's just get through these next few games. And people will say take it one game at a time. And I kind of can get behind that. But it's very hard to do that when you're in a title race because you look at what Liverpool got coming up, you look at what Arsenal were doing. I understand the players have got a different mindset to that. But as a fan who goes to the games, we're looking at the next few fixtures, aren't we, ahead? We always look at them in chunks. Now, the next few games that we've got are actually going to be very, very difficult. They are. They're going to be difficult. It's until the March international break. We've got West Ham tomorrow, Forest on Wednesday away, PSV, Man United, PSV, Chelsea. We will know when we get to March international break where Arsenal are at. We'll know if we're still in the Champions League and we'll know if we're still in the title race. And I hope we're still in both. I hope we're still in both. To get into both, without teaching you to suck eggs, we've got to get through the tie against PSV. But in the next 4 games that we've got, which are West Ham, Forest, United and Chelsea, I think we've got to pick up. I think we've got to pick up 10 points. I think we've got to pick up 10 points. We can't lose to Forest, but I think we might. That's the game I'm kind of putting money on us to drop points. But we just need to stink our way through a 1-0. Stink our way through a 1-0 at Old Trafford. Stink our way through beating Chelsea 2-1, 1-0. Stink our way through tomorrow if we have to. I don't care if we ain't playing well. I don't care if rivals are looking at us going, set piece again. I just want to get through this. I do not want to be in a scenario where we're going into the Chelsea game having picked up 1 win. That's not what I want. So I would love 12 points in the next 4. We have to pick up 10, bare minimum. 9 wouldn't be horrendous, but anything lower than that, I think we're kind of allowing the title to just go away from us. Now, Liverpool, they've got Manchester City, they've got Newcastle, and who have they got in their next 4? Let's bring up their next 4 fixtures because I don't actually genuinely know who they've got after that. Excuse me, I think it might be Southampton. Here we go. Liverpool matches. They've got Manchester City, Newcastle, and then they've got PSG either side of Southampton, yes. And then the Carabao Cup final, and then the Merseyside derby. So, wow, the 2nd of April is the Merseyside derby. I think we'll know by then what's going on. What have Liverpool won? Are they still in the Champions League? Have they won the Carabao Cup? Are they still in a title race? It's coming thick and fast. This is the thing with Liverpool. Liverpool are still in the Carabao Cup final. They're still in the Champions League alongside us. They haven't just got 1 game a week, Liverpool. They've got more fixtures than us. They've had more fixtures than us. They've gone through that kind of crazy period we had where we were like Inter Milan, Atalanta, Man City, Villa, Spurs, right at the start of the season. They're now going through that kind of period now where they've got City, they've got Villa, they've got Newcastle, they've got Everton again coming up. They've got Carabao Cup final. They've got the Champions League. They're all having fixture pile-ups now as well. Let's see how they deal with it. We dealt with it okay, if you remember back then, but we had our fully fit squad then. Yeah, because we didn't lose any of those games other than Inter Milan, if you remember. Yeah, we drew to Man City and Atalanta, but we beat Spurs, we beat Villa, we beat Wolves at the start of the season. We had Brighton, which we drew with 10 men. We had Man City that we drew with 10 men. It was difficult, very difficult. It was really the Newcastle and Bournemouth situation going to Chelsea that really screwed us. That was what screwed us. Inter Milan, Newcastle, Bournemouth, Chelsea. It was that kind of little pile-on fixture. We just went without winning. Lost to Inter Milan, drew to Chelsea, lost to Newcastle and Bournemouth. That's the period of cluster that would absolutely screwed us this season. Because if we would have beaten Newcastle and Bournemouth, yeah, right now we'd be 2 points off of Liverpool with a game in hand. Win that game in hand. That's what it is. So look, I'll leave you with some positive news. If Manchester City beat Liverpool, the Premier League is in Arsenal's hands. Crazy, right? People say, what? Yeah, it is. Because we win all of our games, we win the league by a point. Because we'll be 2 points behind Liverpool and we have to play them at Anfield, which means if we beat them, we will finish a point ahead of them. Now, that's if we win every single game, yeah? And Liverpool win every single game. But lots can happen. Lots can happen. Yeah. Come on, people, hit the like and subscribe. We're so close to 33.7. Let's do this, man. In fact, we're really close to 33.7. So let's make sure that we get that now. Hit the subscribe button, people. Make sure you've liked the video if you haven't done so already, because that is so important. Make sure you've checked out Reality Raffles, because we really need to get them some love, and make sure you've got your tickets. And go check out, because they've got unbelievable. We only need 10 to hit 33.7. Come on, 10 people can hit subscribe now, I'm sure. Please do me a favor. That would be amazing if you can do that. Please make sure you've hit like and subscribe, and make sure that you check out the videos that are going to be dropping later. We're going to go send you over to Lee Gunner, so please make sure you go show him some love. Go raid him. 12th man raid, Dan Potts raid. Dan Potts sent me. Make sure you go show some love to him. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for your contributions, for your interactions, for your comments. Make sure you hit a comment on this video. Tell me where you think Arsenal will finish in the Premier League and the Champions League. That's where I want to know. I want to know, can we win the league, or are we going to come second, or are we going to come lower? Where are we going to get to in the Champions League? Are we going to go out? We're going to get to the quarters, semis, or can we go all the way and win it? Please let me know in the comment section. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Big up to all of you. Go show Lee some love. Go spam his chat. Say Dan Potts raid. And we will see you next time, people. Big up to you.